There you go. It should be going. All right. So, hi. Welcome, everyone, to Cafe Caedmon, and to everyone on the interwebs who are joining us, hopefully now-ish. Hi, welcome. This is Emmanuel Episcopal Church's monthly singer-songwriter concert, and want to give a big shout-out and thanks to Lance Owsley, our rector, for having this idea and getting it to fruition, and really excited that I get to play here tonight for the first time. So, what's that? Oh, thanks. My name, if they don't know, is Brad Sullivan. That was my son, Reese. You'll hear more about him later, maybe. Not really. So this first song I'm doing, it came from a book that my granddad gave to my brother and me, and then Mom read to us as kids growing up. Later, Mom gave to me to read to our kids, which I did, and the book was called Wolf, about not a wolf, but about a dog that looked like a wolf. And this great story, old stories of this dog and this couple who kept this dog and his brothers and sisters and uncles, and it was just this kind of bit of life, and they were the heroes of this story, and just nothing that special about them, right? Just kind of regular people in a regular life. And then a couple summers ago, right after I had been reading this book to the kids, we were up in the mountains, and being up there, it was gorgeous, and this song came to me while we were there. It's called Cool Mountain Air. Cool mountain air, thin places up there lead me back again to where I had forgotten or never known. Whole self exposed, but this chapter is not closed. It's taken shape in a tale I thought I'd long ago outgrown. It's the dreams of a young boy knows in the musty pages of books his granddad gave to him from bygone ages, when all you needed was a loyal dog and the truth in your integrity to make everyday heroes out of folks like you and me. Kids run and play, peals of laughter adorn the day. It's the joys of life unfettered by past mistakes, so begin again. Let what ifs go, like so much melting snow. It's summer now, the sun has come, transformed the winter wind. It's the dreams of a young boy knows in the musty pages of books his granddad gave to him from bygone ages, when all you needed was a loyal dog and the truth of your integrity to make everyday heroes out of folks like you and me. Stories told in elder tones resonate within my bones, bring courage and direction to my song. I'll strike a chord and keep my word even when it goes unheard and fears within me whisper, go along. Cool mountain air, thin places up there lead me back again to where I had forgotten or never known. Let what ifs go, like so much melting snow. It's summer now, the sun has come, transformed the winter wind. It's the dreams of a young boy knows in the musty pages of books his granddad gave to him from bygone ages, was a loyal dog, and the truth of your integrity to make everyday heroes out of folks like you and me. Oh, everyday heroes out of folks like you and me. Thanks, y'all. So I'm changing the order for my set list, which doesn't really mean anything to anyone, but it's what I'm doing. So this songs come to me in a bunch of different ways, as I was saying to Elaine earlier. This one came from several places. I guess the initial thought of the song was a couple friends of mine were a couple years ago, and I think like his favorite soccer team had lost or something like that, like a big game. And so he was drinking an extra bourbon or two every night for a couple weeks. And his wife says to him, "Honey, man cannot live by bourbon and coffee alone." She was right. But so that got this idea, and it's like, that's such a great line. And then I tied to that a couple other pieces. One was a friend's daughter, who is my goddaughter, said to her grandmom at one point, "Every single star you see is one good act." And I knew right there, I mean, one, beautiful, this little prophetess of my goddaughter, and then add to that something this is why I got my phone so I could get this quote right. Her mom also said years and years ago, Facebook post, that there is no burden of body or soul that cannot be eased by dancing freely and joyously, barefoot and under the stars. Now, I don't dance. Anyone that's seen me do so knows why. But that's still, like, I love the idea. One day I'd like to do that. And in any case, those three things coalesced into this next song called "Arise, My Love." The day is almost gone, the night is coming on, and you're still here in bed. You drank the day away again. I put a fresh pot on to help you clear your head. But man cannot live by bourbon and coffee alone, and neither can you, my love. So arise, my love, my fair one, come away and dance with me beneath the stars. This melancholy sadness holds you captive in its lurid trance, an endless tape of wished-for what-if rerun tracks of happenstance. The night goes on, a new day comes, each moment is a second chance. So dance with me beneath the stars. Dance with me beneath the stars. The soft grass cradles us beneath the starry skies, held by Mother Earth. Look up and see infinity stretched out before your eyes, a gift of our birth, 'cause every single star you see is one good act. rise, my love, my fair one, come away and dance with me beneath the stars. This melancholy sadness holds you captive in its lurid trance, an endless tape of wished-for what-if rerun tracks of happenstance. The night goes on, a new day comes, each moment is a second chance, so dance with me beneath the stars. Dance with me beneath the stars. Dance with me beneath the stars. Thanks, y'all. Thank you. So this is another a little along that same vein. For a long time I said I write both kinds of folk music, melancholy and sad. Eventually I wrote a cheerful song. You just heard it. Got a couple others, but yeah, this one is called Imaginary Fables, and it's how we get so wrapped up in our own thoughts and in our own minds that it's hard to get out of it sometimes, and we're just stuck inside whatever is going on in our heads. And then it's about the people who help us and help pull us out of that and back to real life. So called Imaginary Fables. Better days running through my head, some imaginary fable forms a maze of a single thread, which I would cut if I were able. Can't find my way back home, as in this aimless fog I roam through the haze, through the me I dread. You enter in and turn the tables. Life is such a frantic pace, one little thing can set me reeling. It's too much, and so I race behind the walls of my heart, stealing, alone again by your side. As fears within tell my soul to hide, but your touch, your soft embrace, can soothe my soul and set me healing. Nevermore, nevermore, we hold up this talisman that I won't be here again. When these thoughts come tapping, as of someone gently rapping on a one-way door, then with the raven quoth we both nevermore. Nevermore, nevermore, we pray that this time will be different. I'll find the peace I'm looking for, knowing this time may come nevermore. Nevermore, see you, you say, and so I am. I see you, and so I am. Better days running through my head, some imaginary fable. Thank you. Thank you. Go Astros. So I mentioned earlier the Wild Hunt, the first non-crappy high school girlfriend song that I had. The songs were crappy, not the girlfriends. Sorry, but the first one of those songs that I had written, and it was based on a Norse folk legend. A friend of mine had written a blog post about the Wild Hunt, and Odin would ride through the wilderness collecting the souls of the dead. And that was this chaotic, scary time when basically you're kind of hunkering down and hoping not to get swept up in the chaos. Now, I can never remember what the first time is. It's for us Halloween, and I can never remember what the word is. But the ending of the Wild Hunt is the winter solstice. So it's been this time of continued darkness as things are getting darker and darker, and then ends with the return of the light. And so that's what this song does, and goes through this idea of the light returning, even though it may not sound that way. This is called The Wild Hunt. Come like lightning with autumn setting sun. Harvest stored preparing for the cold and dark to come. Chilly wind, a portent, death is stirring in the earth. Across the Texas plains as they wait for the sun's rebirth. You hold your wife, you bless and kiss your daughter and your son. You huddle close together, the wild hunt's begun. Howling of the hounds is borne to you upon the wind. You wonder if tonight is the beginning or the end. Chaos bleeds as thunder steeds advance across the night. You peer into the darkness, but there's nothing there to find. You light a candle, praying, knowing there's nowhere to run. You huddle close together, the wild hunt's begun. Surrounding him, his servants heed his call. Drawn out from the shadows where they lay but did not fall. 6 more weeks to go until you reach the darkest night. With the sacred promise that the world will be put right. But even when the light returns, the madness never ends. For every day we walk the earth, the wild hunt begins. Winters come like lightning with autumn setting sun. Death is stirring in the earth, the wild hunt's begun. Thanks, y'all. Thanks, Reese. So it doesn't sound too much like there was much hope in that song. But I started writing it to an Anglican hymn with minor chords singing Alleluia, and let's face it, it doesn't sound like there's much hope in those either. Sorry, kidding. No, but in all sincerity, though, what it says, every day we walk the earth, the wild hunt begins. Even when the light returns, the madness never ends. Doesn't mean that it's hopeless. It's the idea that we know that the light doesn't just return on one day at the solstice, but the light returns every day. And we know that there's also darkness in the world every day. And so we're not going to hunker down in fear forever. We're going to step out with hope and strength into the crazy. So as I say, let the wild hunt begin. Okay, fight or flight. Speaking of the wild hunt beginning. Everything good? All right. So one of my favorite bands is Rush. I'm not going to play one of their songs. Thank the Lord, sweet baby Jesus. But they had this line in a song on their last album, which said, "Time is like an ancient river." And I loved that. And I had this idea for a song from that line, a different line that says, "Time is like a river, but his dried up long ago." So like this song about this guy stuck in the past. And I initially had, it was like, I had this guy set in a bar, and he's drinking himself and angry and, just pissed at everybody while being pissed. And I realized that wasn't the right song eventually. Actually, I didn't realize it. I started writing another song because I had this idea of fight or flight and this, jumping right into lizard brain. And sometimes it's for something real, sometimes it's not. But whenever it happens, it's real for us when we're in that sort of fight or flight mentality. And eventually I realized that person from that other song, it was the wrong person, and that it's this character in this song instead. And so couple different characters, couple different stories in this song, fictional people, but these two stories that I eventually realized were linked. And so put them together in this song called Fight or Flight. Whispered warnings all around. There's memories of the sight and sound. Drive the impulse, leave the questioning behind. A restless heart, a troubled mind. Years of childhood trauma left her life a malediction. Walls she built for her protection now become a new affliction. 'Cause time is like a river, but hers dried up long ago. Treading waters of the past, there's behind the walls to stop the flow. It's fight or flight, without a foe. Inner darkness hides from outer light. exit, jump again into the fray, fighting every battle, every blessing on the way. The warrior rides on today. The warrior rides on today. His body shifts, a chemical spark. Neurons firing, miss the mark. Signals crossed, a soothing touch, a wicked strike. In a mind become a minefield, both alike. All his life responds to impulse, a world that he can't understand. His daily cry, I don't belong, stranger in a stranger land. Storm-tossed and tattered, the little boy is not alone. His mother holds him through the storms, battle-worn to guide him home. It's fight or flight, without a foe. In a darkness hides from outer light. Run to the exit, jump again into the fray, fighting every battle, every blessing on the way. The warrior rides on today. The warrior rides on today. And crack of healing, a trickle of release. The walls begin to crumble with the flow of peace. Her son receives the strength of friends and finds he too belongs. Side by side they journey on, heroes in each other's songs. It's fight or flight, without a foe. In a darkness hides from outer light. Fear drives response, every nerve seeking reprieve. The double mind speaks soothing words which the heart longs to believe. The warrior rides on today. The warrior rides on today. Thanks, y'all. Thanks, Reese. Oh, goodness. So, this one's not really fight or flight, but sometimes feels like it. Talking about, of course, marriage and parenting and working all at the same time. Which at least, thank God, we're not. I remember when we were in lockdown, and it was from going to being okay at parenting and okay at working and okay at the kids being at school. We were actually pretty good at the kids being at school, to suddenly being really terrible at each of those things all at the same time. And one point, someone I know and love, who I'm married to, left the house in the morning, and she had some pills she was taking at the time, prescription at the time, and she was like antibiotic or something, and she says, "Coffee in my hand." Oh, okay, it was ADHD medicine. She said I could tell the real ADHD medicine. There we go. I lie to protect the guilty. So she says, "Coffee in my hands, pills in my bag. All right, I'm good." I'm like, "Oh my God, honey, that's so great." So I started off writing this song, which was abysmal, because it was like this. I mean, it had this image of this sort of kind of dangerous, exciting, sort of just fantasy woman that 1,000 other blues rock songs have been written about. And I finally realized that's stupid, and that just sucks. So I decided instead to write a song about the actual person who had spoken those words and inspired that song. So this is called Coffee in Her Hand and Pills in Her Purse. It ain't easy being mom and wife and worker. Seems that she can never shirk her duties to anyone, anytime, anywhere at all. Keep 'em straight, the little details where the devil lies. I see the late nights in her tired eyes. We've put the kids to bed, then it's back to work. The hours slip away. But in the morning, as the sunlight's streaming in, she leaves the house to face the day again, with coffee in her hand and pills in her purse. With coffee in her hand and pills in her purse. Her love's intense, but she can hurt you just as strongly. There's no offense, don't get me wrong, she's just no flawless, florid fantasy. She's spring and summer, fall of winter, she owns them all. Her kids are more to her than all the world's glory. They are the core of her life story. The three of them are one with her, forever to the end. And in the morning, as the sunlight's streaming in, she leaves the house to face the day again, with coffee in her hand and pills in her purse. With coffee in her hand and pills in her purse. She'll take reading a good book and some quiet, and like a healing balm apply it to the day's disruptive din, and find peace again. She hikes at ease along both city trail and mountain. Among the trees she finds a fountain of the spirit of the life that is. Through all the world ablaze. And in the morning, as the sunlight's streaming in, she leaves the house to face the day again, with coffee in her hand and pills in her purse. With coffee in her hand and pills in her purse. She has coffee in her hand and pills in her purse. Coffee in her hand and pills in her purse. Thanks, y'all. Sorry for that tuning fiasco. Boy, howdy. That was something awful. But let's see what's next. Oh, low E was the bad one. All right. So, what are we doing on time? That's all right. So being married, we ended up having kids. They're here. You can see them, the three small people. And Kristen read just about every parenting book there was, and then I would get the Cliff's Notes from Kristen. And there was a lot of advice that was good, and there were a lot of advice that wasn't. And so eventually I distilled some of that down and thought I'd write a song about having kids. And some of that advice that's good and some of that that's rather less than good. That's right, it is. I got some advice for you possible parents to be. Before you start down that road, have a listen to me. I know whereof I speak, of children 1, 2, and 3. And those little darling devils mean all the world to me. They're beautiful, loving, cuddly, a total delight. Except for when they argue, whine, shout, or fight. And after book upon book, which folks have said to read, I've adopted a rather less than orthodoxical creed. Don't breed, don't breed. The only parenting advice that you're ever gonna need. Don't breed, don't breed. And if you truly think that you want another mouth to feed, just go outside and help the squirrels fight the birds for seed. But don't breed. Well, think of all the happy couples you know, with genuine smiles, not a tired show. Their affection and love can only grow, 'cause they never help the population overflow. They got all the time to make all their dreams come true. If you listen to me, well, then so can you. Just think of all the time you'll save without children to put you in an early grave. Don't breed, don't breed. The only parenting advice that you're ever gonna need. Don't breed, don't breed. And if you truly think that you want another mouth to feed, just get you a puppy or a cute and cuddly centipede. But don't breed. So I know you weren't expecting to hear that from anyone, ever. So to be fair, I thought I would talk about what some of those actual books had to say on the subject. Well, love and logic, logic and love. Why don't you just seek advice from above? Your spirited child, offspring gone wild. And 1, 2, 3 magic was 1 through 3 tragic. Book upon book of parental advice, covering every virtue and vice. Volumes and volumes with topics galore, but this mock review covers only one more. Playful parenting, here's the apparent thing. Only one writing will stop all the biting, the tantrums, the fights, the sleepless nights. It's the one publication, a child vaccination to train you in all the tips and tactics that you truly need. Don't breed, don't breed. The only parenting advice that you're ever gonna need. Don't breed, don't breed. And if you truly think that you want another mouth to feed, just get you a puppy or a bloodthirsty singing weed. But don't, no, don't, no, 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 don't breed. Saw y'all nodding your heads like in agreement, so say it with me. Don't breed. I love my children. So I've got a couple that I was going to stick in here if I needed to for time, and, well, I think I might need to for time. So I'll probably screw these up a bit more than the other ones. So this was when I was out for a walk one morning, and taking a look around, and I was stretching underneath a tree in our front yard. And suddenly I look up, and everything's, I'm just like looking at the branches of the pine tree, lying on my back looking at the night sky, and everything looks different somehow. It's one of those times when suddenly the presence of God is not there. It's always there, but the presence of God is like, I'm aware of the presence of God there. And so this song ended up coming from that. Like I said, that was the real story, sitting on my front lawn, stretching before I went for a walk. This seems more true, though. Lying neath the pine wood forest, staring at the night. Stars are shining with the moon, offering their light. An hour or two before the dawn, I realize I've never seen the world from this view. And it seems as though creation's new. There's quiet and there's stillness, except a gently blowing breeze. I close my eyes and listen as it dances through the trees. I feel them swaying gently as they rock the slumbering earth below. The light that's held within, asleep till life begins again. I open up my eyes and look once more upon the night, contemplating life and all the years that have gone by. Some with strife, some beautiful, they seem somehow the same. Love and peace I see has somehow always been with me, and now the stars begin to dim, the night begins to pale. With it goes a glimpse of the world beyond the veil, but the vision lingers with me as the sun starts its ascent. As the forest slumbers on, I make my way back home. Thanks, y'all. So, right now, is it everyone's very favorite time of life ever? Please say no. It sucked, right? Year and a half of pandemic. There's been some good stuff, but yeah, it is fairly well sucked. And so that's kind of what this next song is about, written long before this. But I do a lot of looking back on things kind of songs. But this one's called The Good Old Days. Looking back to years gone by, days when I knew nothing but the truth. Simple times without a care, the innocence and ignorance of youth. Summers spent on Cypress Creek, dreaming with friends of what we'd one day be. Like so many other dreams, they're now a distant memory. I didn't know they were good old days until the good old days were gone. And it's been oh so long, but I never called them good old days until the good old days were through. Maybe these are good old days too. Do you remember when we first met, how I couldn't keep my eyes off you? I fell in love as we talked that night, hoping you felt the same way too. Hiking trips and mountain streams, your beauty in the soft campfire light. Before the stress of losing jobs while raising kids, the sleepless nights. I didn't know they were good old days until the good old days were gone. And it's been oh so long. I never called them good old days until the good old days were through. Maybe these are good old days too. Funny thing about the good old days is they never seem to begin, till in hindsight we forget our struggles now are like our struggles then, and all that's left are the good memories of the joy shared with those we love. Never know that they're good old days until the good old days are gone, and time has marched on. I never call them good old days until the good old days are through. Maybe these are good old days too. Maybe these are good old days too. Thanks, y'all. So I'm gonna throw one more in here, and then get to the last one. This one came. So I remember Patrick last time when he was here. He said it seems like every Texas singer-songwriter has a Texas song or two, and so already singing one, I put Odin in the midst of the Texas plains. For one of them, this next one came from back in about 2010 or 11, the drug wars in Mexico, and hearing some of the awful stories of all of that. And so what does a guy who is really upset about it but can't do anything at all about it do other than write a song? And it started off as this just awful mess of terribleness, like a lot of things do. And then there was one line that I really liked and kept, and that was, Jesus tells us to turn the other cheek, but sometimes a mad dog must be put down. And that struggle between, you know, what do we do when we're faced with terrible evil? And so it ended up then as a spaghetti western, which didn't turn out all that well for Clint Eastwood. This is called Hell to Pay. Talking's come and gone with the setting of the sun. Lawmen take their final stand against the boss's heavy hand. And they each prepare to give 6 prayers each that they may live. They let the devil have his way, now there will be hell to pay. The fighting's done before the light, 3 men lost into the night. Sounds of wailing fill the town as their rebellion is put down. And the boss's men all take their share. Winter stores left nearly bare. He's gone too far, the people say, now there will be hell to pay. Preacher tells them to turn the other cheek, reminding them, blessed are the meek, but they will not heed his cries, saying sometimes a mad dog must be put down. In rides a hopeful ray of light, a nameless drifter who will fight, confronts the boss outside of town, kills 9 men, then he's shot down. And the boss is filled with rage, and no tribute can assuage. He burns their town that very day, now there will be hell to pay. Preacher can't believe his eyes, ears still filled with painful cries, grabs his Bible and hides a gun. The boss will pay for what he's done. He says your sins you can't confess, shoots him 6 times in the chest. He leaves him dying on the clay, now there will be hell to pay. Thanks, y'all. I was listening to a lot of Robert Earl Keen when I first started writing, so Wild Hunt and that one sort of came out of that, and a lot of Metallica as well throughout my whole life, so kind of like if Robert Earl Keen and Metallica had a baby, there's a couple of those songs. So this is the last song I'll do tonight, and kind of a good one to send y'all away on. Again, about one inspired by our kids, and but this one's not about not having them, but more about how to get them to sleep. You want to come say hi? Come on. This is Reese. And Ellie. And Noah. Hey, guys. Oh. You shall never leave. Okay. There you go. All right. So every once in a while, we had a hard time getting our children to bed, and we sang them lullabies and some Billy Joel, some Jimmy Buffett, and others. Not quite. We thought about it, but no, it was He Went to Paris. Was that what it was called? He went to Paris looking for answers to questions that bothered him so. Gorgeous song, and worked great with kids. This one that I wrote, called 610 Lullaby. Let those from Houston understand. If only I'd been doing this while I was talking to everybody. Now I get to vamp a little bit. Yay! I know, I hate vamping too. Thing is, every time you put on a capo to raise the pitch of your song, you have to retune because it makes everything sharp. But it all makes it not the same level of sharp, so it just makes it awful. So once again, I tune because I care. And all right, let's see how that sounds. Does it hurt? Good. All right. The day is almost over, and it's time to go to bed. You're so full of wonder, 1,000 questions in your head. So I'll drive you off to dreamland on a road that has no end, with fantasy and friends around each bend. The Lord bless you and keep you, look down upon your face. The Lord lift up his countenance and grant you peace and grace. Lay down your weary head and close your eyes on a 610 lullaby. This forest full of fairies who give you wings so you can fly with them in the twilight, 'neath the pink and golden skies. Then you dance among the satyrs beneath the fairy lights, with music drifting from the mountain heights. The Lord bless you and keep you, look down upon your face. The Lord lift up his countenance and grant you peace and grace. Lay down your weary head and close your eyes on a 610 lullaby. The fairies bed down in the boughs of gently swaying trees. Satyrs make their beds below of grass and fallen leaves. And woodland elves invite you to their homes to sleep within, as you listen to the whispers of the wind. The Lord bless you and keep you, look down upon your face. The Lord lift up his countenance and grant you peace and grace. Lay down your weary head and close your eyes on a 610 lullaby. Lay down your weary head and close your eyes on a 610 lullaby. Thanks, y'all. Thanks so much. Y'all have a great night, and thank you. Thank you. Mwah. Hey, Els. Thanks, y'all. Good night.
I'm tired.
What? Oh, the little button at the top there that looks like